want to give you the context of what she's been able to do. Irene recently graduated from Tufts University. Can you guys hear me, by the way? In and out. No? She recently graduated from Tufts University. She's a wife. She is a mother. She has 2 kids. Her oldest son is 7 years old, and her youngest is 10 months old. And with all those things going on, she's being able to uphold, I'm sure with the help of many people, this organization. Let's just give her a round of applause, because that is a lot to do. So I'm very honored, Irene, to introduce you. Her full names are Irene Barry Ereka. I'm very honored to introduce you for the work that you've been doing for Inable Organization, and I'll just tell you briefly what this organization is about, as I'm sure you'll hear. It's about establishing computer labs for the blind children in Kenya. And one of the things that to me is very impressive about this is sometimes those who are marginalized tend to be forgotten, right? I was telling Irene that when I was in primary, and I was in primary in now, some people were very embarrassed by that, because as you can imagine, we were young kids, we're like, we don't want to be beaten by blind school. But one of the things that taught me is what you're trying to do is that they have a lot of ability. And that's what this organization is about. It's about enabling them. So you call it Inable. There's nothing they're not able to do. And what Irene has done in our organization is they establish computer labs, equip them, and these kids who have a lot of passion, who want to get jobs like me and you, are able to learn computer skills, which will be very helpful for them in the future. So I want you to give her...
They teach students without books at all. So what we want to do is take advantage of technology, get them to use digital textbooks, get them to be able to communicate with their teachers via email, and most importantly, we get them into employment. We all know that if you have basic computer skills, after Form 4 you can go directly into employment. You can work at a call center or anywhere, or you can go into higher education. So we want to prepare these children at an early age, so that by the time they get into high school, they can get somewhere. Our plan next year, April and August, our high school students are going to go for internships in the local companies, so that they can slowly start to get used to working with the sighted individuals. So that's where we are. The main thing we do is we come into a school, we set up the lab with all the computers that are needed, all the softwares that are needed, and we provide the training. Because there are special softwares that are used by the blind. So it's an ordinary computer, but we have some different softwares that have to be used. And for these students to master how to use that software, we have computer instructors. So for every school, we have 3 computer instructors to take care of at least 250 students. Our goal is to replicate the program to the total 8 schools for the blind in Kenya. We have 2 schools for the blind in Kisumu. We have a school in Kapenguria. We have 2 schools in Meru, and we have 1 school in Mombasa. So we still have a very long way to go. And right now what I would say is we are working with the Ministry of Education. It's a bit complicated, but it's getting there, because if you want the curriculum digitized in the right format, then you have to engage the ministry. So that's what we're doing. Why we're here today is to raise funds to support our instructors. We can have 1,000 computers, but if you don't have the trainers, your program is nothing. Thika High School for the Blind had a computer lab for 10 years. Donations from different corporations. Until we went in last year, not a single blind student could use computers. So anything you give today will go towards training, and I would encourage you to give it your best, and then when you make a trip to Kenya, you send me an email. You can always go visit the students and see for yourself. Now we've become like a museum. We get people from Nigeria, from Liberia, from any part of the world. So we are happy to receive visitors, but we just ask you send an email and we plan around it. So the main thing for us to remember is we don't see the blind in our streets in Kenya. Mostly they beg. But also prostitution is a major business for the blind. And that's why you find a lot of them have HIV, a lot of them have 4 or 5 children, and maybe someone is just single by themselves. But through education, we can break the vicious cycle. So I urge you guys to support us as much as you can, and anything you do will go a long way. Thanks for having me. And from the activities that we had for the day, I remember the teacher talking and saying that, Irene, when you go back to the States, we want you to think about the blind students as well, because we want the same books and the same computers you're thinking about the blind child. The sighted child. So that's the first time I connected with the blind students. But what inspired me mostly is the fact that when I tried to find out what they do at high school, no one was willing to tell me. Until finally, I met a group of 5 blind adults who are all from Thika Primary School for the blind. And they made it clear to me, they beg and they do prostitution. And if I don't do anything for these children, the vicious cycle will continue. So that's my inspiration.
Anybody else with another question? Kuna swali lingine?
Teeth or him. So he went blind. So he had as a man. So there are different causes of blindness, and diabetes in children is also a major problem.